I wish someone had told me this earlier. The richest people aren't the ones flexing Lambos or dripping in designer clothes. They're the ones you'd never suspect, living quietly next door, sipping cheap coffee and driving a 10-year-old Toyota. My entire view of wealth flipped upside down the day I picked up The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko. One line hit me like a freight train. Most of America's millionaires are first-generation rich, and they didn't get there by showing off. That sentence shattered my obsession with flashy lifestyles and sent me spiraling into a personal reckoning. Let me take you back to where it all started. I was 25, drowning in $30,000 of student debt, working a dead-end retail job, and scrolling Instagram for hours, envying influencers with their private jets and Birkin bags. I thought that's what success looked like. I'd spend every paycheck on $200 sneakers or overpriced cocktails, chasing a version of rich that only existed online. My bank account was a ghost town. $47.32 was my lowest balance, and I was too ashamed to tell my friends I couldn't afford dinner. I'd lie, saying I was busy, while eating instant noodles in my cramped apartment. The worst part? I felt trapped, like I'd never climb out of that hole. Then one rainy afternoon I met my neighbor, Mr. Thompson. He was a retired accountant, maybe 60, with a wardrobe straight out of a thrift store and a rusty pickup truck that coughed every morning. I'd always dismissed him as some boring old guy, until I saw him casually write a $10,000 check to a local charity without blinking. I was floored. How could he have that kind of money? Curious, I struck up a conversation, and he mentioned The Millionaire Next Door. I borrowed his copy, and it was like someone ripped the blindfold off my eyes. The book revealed that millionaires like Mr. Thompson aren't rare. They're everywhere, hiding in plain sight. They don't chase status, they chase freedom. That book became my wake-up call. I started watching Mr. Thompson closely, piecing together how he lived. He'd mow his own lawn, pack lunches, and haggle at garage sales like it was an Olympic sport. But here's the kicker. He owned 3 rental properties, had a stock portfolio worth over $1 million, and hadn't paid interest on a credit card in 30 years. Another quote from the book stuck with me. Wealth is not the same as income. If you make a good income but spend it all, you are not getting wealthier. I realized I was burning my income on junk I didn't need, trying to look rich instead of building actual wealth. My obsession with looking successful started to crumble. I'd spent years thinking I needed a fancy car to impress people, but Mr. Thompson drove a beater and was richer than my wildest dreams. I felt like an idiot. I'd been sprinting toward a finish line that didn't exist. The book's data backed it up. 80% of millionaires buy used cars, and most live in homes worth less than $400,000. I looked at my own life. $1,500 in credit card debt from a treat-yourself shopping spree, and felt sick. I wasn't just broke. I was clueless. The turning point came one night when I sat down with a notebook and faced the truth. I wrote down every dollar I'd spent that month. $200 on takeout, $150 on clothes, $80 on subscriptions I barely used. It added up to $200, almost my entire paycheck. I was living paycheck to paycheck, not because I didn't earn enough, but because I was reckless. I thought about Mr. Thompson and the book's advice. Millionaires are frugal but not cheap. They spend on what matters. I decided to try it. I canceled my Netflix, cooked at home, and sold those $200 sneakers for $50 on eBay. It hurt, but it felt like a start. That's when I began tracking every penny. I downloaded a budgeting app and was horrified to see I'd spent $3,000 on miscellaneous in 6 months. Coffee runs, impulse buys, late-night Uber rides. I set a goal to save $500 a month, even if it meant saying no to happy hours or skipping trendy brunches. At first it sucked. My friends called me cheap, and I felt like an outsider. But every time I checked my savings, $100, then $300, then $700, I felt a rush. For the first time, I wasn't just surviving. I was building something. By the end of that year, I'd saved $5,000 and paid off half my credit card debt. It wasn't millions, but it was progress. I'd lie awake at night thinking about Mr. Thompson and that book, wondering how many years I'd wasted chasing the wrong dream. The truth is, I wasn't unique. Most of us are brainwashed by social media, thinking wealth is a Rolex or a penthouse. But the Millionaire Next Door showed me it's not about what you show. It's about what you own. And I was ready to own my future. The moment I realized I'd been chasing a fake version of wealth, I knew I had to rebuild from the ground up. The Millionaire Next Door didn't just expose my mistakes. It gave me a blueprint to fix them. One line burned into my brain: millionaires live below their means, not beyond them. That hit hard. I was living way beyond my means, blowing every dollar on stuff that vanished faster than my paycheck. But Mr. Thompson, he was proof you could be rich without anyone knowing. So, I rolled up my sleeves and got to work. Here's exactly how I turned things around, step by step, and how you can too. First, I audited my life like a crime scene. I pulled up my bank statements and tracked every dollar for the past 3 months. It was brutal. $600 on takeout, $400 on clothes I wore once, $200 on bar tabs. I was bleeding money. So, I set a rule. No spending without a plan. I created a budget using a free app, splitting my income into 3 buckets: 50% for essentials like rent and groceries, 20% for savings and debt repayment, and 30% for everything else. If I wanted a $5 coffee, it came out of that 30%. No exceptions. In The Millionaire Next Door, the authors note that 97% of millionaires track their expenses religiously. I wasn't aiming for millions yet, but I wanted that discipline. Step 2 was killing my debt. My credit card was a $2,500 anchor dragging me down, with 18% interest eating me alive. I used the snowball method, paying off the smallest balance first for a quick win. I threw every extra dollar at it, skipping nights out and cooking $2 pasta dinners. Within 8 months, that card was at zero. The relief was unreal, like I'd dropped a 50-pound backpack. The book hammered this point. Millionaires avoid debt like the plague. Mr. Thompson once told me he hadn't carried a credit card balance since the 80s. That became my mantra: owe nothing, own everything. Next, I tackled my income. My retail job paid $35,000 a year. Decent, but not enough to build wealth fast. I started side hustling, inspired by the book's stat that 65% of millionaires have multiple income streams. I wasn't about to launch a startup, but I could freelance. I taught myself basic graphic design using free YouTube tutorials and landed $500 gigs making logos for small businesses. In my first year, I earned an extra $8,000. It wasn't glamorous, but it padded my savings and gave me breathing room. Mr. Thompson used to say, "Money grows when you give it a job." I gave mine a job. Half to savings, half to investments. Speaking of investments, that was step 4. I knew nothing about the stock market, but The Millionaire Next Door emphasized that millionaires invest early and often. I started small, putting $100 a month into a low-cost index fund. I used a robo-advisor to keep it simple. No day trading, no crypto gambles. The book cited that 80% of millionaires stick to boring, steady investments. Over 2 years, my $2,400 grew to $2,800, not life-changing, but proof I was moving forward. I pictured Mr. Thompson nodding approvingly, his beat-up truck parked outside his $1,000,000 portfolio. Finally, I embraced frugality. Not cheapness, but intentional spending. I stopped buying $80 jeans and shopped at thrift stores, scoring $10 jackets that looked brand new. I negotiated my phone bill down by $20 a month and cut cable for a $15 streaming service. The book's data backed this up. Millionaires spend less than 10% of their net worth on their homes and cars combined. I didn't own a home yet, but I traded my $300 a month car lease for a $6,000 used Honda. It wasn't sexy, but it was mine, paid in cash. The results? Game-changing. In 3 years, I went from $1,500 in debt to $15,000 in savings, $5,000 in investments, and a side hustle bringing in $1,000 a month. I wasn't a millionaire, but I was free. Free from debt, free from stress, free to make choices. My social life shifted too. I stopped caring about impressing people who didn't care about me. I found friends who valued game nights over club nights. My confidence skyrocketed, not because I looked rich, but because I was building something real. I'd traded flashy for freedom, and it felt like I'd cracked a secret code. The day I paid off my last credit card bill, I sat in my apartment, staring at a bank account that wasn't bleeding for the first time in years. It wasn't just about the money, it was about the weight lifted off my chest, the clarity in my head, the future I could finally see. The Millionaire Next Door didn't just give me a plan, it gave me a new lens on life. One of its final gut punches stuck with me. You aren't what you drive or what you wear, but what you do with your money. That's the secret Mr. Thompson lived, and it's the secret I'm sharing with you now. If you're ready to stop chasing flash and start building wealth, here's your call to action, because this isn't just a story, it's a challenge. Don't wait for a wake-up call like I did. Start today, right now. Grab a notebook, open your banking app, and face the truth about where your money's going. It's not sexy, but it's the first step to freedom. Ask yourself, are you spending to impress people who don't care, or are you building a life you control? I used to blow $200 on nights out to feel successful for a few hours. Now every dollar I save feels like a brick in the foundation of my future. You can do this too. Take that first step. Download a budgeting app tonight and track every penny for 30 days. You'll be shocked at what you learn. If you're in debt, make a plan to kill it. Start with the smallest balance, throw every extra dollar at it, and celebrate when it's gone. It's not just about the numbers, it's about momentum. When I paid off that $1,500 credit card, I felt unstoppable. You will too. And don't stop there. Pick up a side hustle, even if it's just $50 a week driving for a rideshare or selling old clothes online. That extra cash isn't pocket money. It's your ticket to investments, savings, or wiping out debt faster. The Millionaire Next Door showed me that 65% of millionaires hustle on the side. You don't need to be a tech genius. You just need to start. Investing isn't optional. It's your future. You don't need thousands to begin. Open a brokerage account, put $50 into an index fund, and add to it every month. It's not about getting rich quick. It's about getting rich slow. My $2,800 portfolio isn't millions, but it's growing while I sleep. And embrace frugality like it's your superpower. Skip the $15 cocktails. Buy used, negotiate bills. Every dollar you don't spend is a dollar working for you. Mr. Thompson taught me that wealth isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, and relentless. This channel is all about real wealth, not the fake stuff you see online. If you're ready to ditch the flashy trap and build a life of freedom, hit that subscribe button. Join us and let's grow together. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you're wasting money on right now? Be honest. Maybe it's those $7 lattes or a subscription you forgot about. Share it, and let's hold each other accountable. And if you know someone stuck chasing the wrong dream, send them this video. You could change their life. I'm not a millionaire, yet, but I'm on the path, and it feels better than any designer label ever could. 3 years ago, I was broke, stressed, and lost. Today, I've got $15,000 saved, a side hustle pulling in $1,000 a month, and a mindset that's bulletproof. The Millionaire Next Door showed me wealth isn't about showing off, it's about owning your future. So, what's stopping you? Get up, take control, and start building the life you deserve. The only question left is, how much are you willing to change to make it happen?